Hi guys, welcome back to the Celsius podcast. And yes,
As you can see, all of us are here.
obviously we are all here. You can count
Yeah.
1, 2,
2,
3, 4.
3, 4. Yeah, see right
Okay,
there. So,
but
Uri, what's the temperature like in New York there?
let's check.
Okay. In California it's 79 degrees, so it's pretty hot.
Let's see. 72.
Oh, it's hot there too.
It's
Global
been
warming
hot.
turns out is real.
It's real and it's coming
It's
back
real.
better than ever.
Wow.
It never left, but
It never left. It's always been here. The world is slowly dying and we just get to watch.
and so let's distract ourselves with talking about movies and TV.
Oh.
The best.
Uri, have you watched some movies and TV? Because I've watched some movies and TV.
I have heard you watch the movie and TV, but first I want to give a little. It's not much of a story, but I'm in a class here, and it's about fandom and fantasy, and like we were learning about like how people consume media, and that it's like an idea called reconsumption, and there's this thing called relational reconsumption, she says, which is like when you like show it to friends or family the media you want to watch so you can share with them. And she said, to quote, it's like showing your friends the Owl House. And then in my mind, no, real way. And here's
no way.
Real way. And here's something to break down the hammer. So one of the students asked her if she could present like a presentation to the class, because we did a thing for an entire week where we presented like PowerPoint topics on any topic we wanted. And so she did a PowerPoint topic on like, because I guess she stars in like student films, and so she wanted to like do like a battle between all the characters she made in the films. And like she said, her mom, like she played like a mom, like a CIA handler, but she said the character I really wanted to play, and then she switches to a picture of Ida the Owl Lady.
That's crazy.
And I was trying to get my phone out to take a picture, but it was too fast.
You should tell your teacher that that you know the number one fan of the Owl House.
I do know the number one fan of the Owl House. So Beck, if you're listening to this, you missed out.
I don't know if any of us. Do you listen to these podcasts?
Yeah, I
mean, you edit them.
Yeah, but I listen to them. So
I listen to them. Not all of them, but some of them.
So that's just a little anecdote. So Beck, Owl House. Pretty fun. But let's get into what I've been watching.
Do you want to alternate?
Yeah, because I watched a few things.
Okay. Here, I can show you my list of 8 things. Actually, it's not 8 things. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 things actually.
Well, that sounds exciting, and
I'm going to be carrying the episode because I don't think Beck and Nicola have much to talk about.
Yeah, Nicola, do you mind saying something?
No. Hold on, he's oh. That's what he has to say.
Oh, and we last week's episode, which came out recently. So last week's episode, the thumb thing, you were not having a stroke, Aiden. So I figured it out.
Oh, thank God.
Whenever I did like a thumbs up, I feel like sometimes like because I did a habit, I'd put like a thumbs up, and like it literally showed it on the screen. So I know why it's not happening now, but it happened when I put my thumbs up, like a thumbs up emoji came out. But I don't know why it's not doing it now. But maybe it'll come.
Like it just registered like you did a thumbs up. So here's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Weird as hell. At least I don't know how I was the only one that noticed it, but I'm glad
it was like a quick flash, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, but I'm glad that I'm not going insane.
But no, yeah. Start off. What
do you want to start? Want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with the thing that is probably least interesting, I suppose. New season of Bob's Burgers came out, and I watched the episode.
I haven't seen it, but I will.
It's like a It's like one of the episodes where they tell a story and they're the characters in the story,
And
and
then
it's
there's
like
like 3 stories, like
no, it's just the one story. They're all like contributing to the story or whatever.
What's the story?
Um, well, it's about so basically the episode is about Louise doesn't want to do chores, but Linda wants her to do chores, right? So they're like striking against doing chores, and it's like they do like a little western thing where Bob and Linda are the sheriffs, and the kids are like saloon owners, and um
Yeah.
like the most of the middle stuff. I mean, it's funny. The animation was pretty good in this episode, although it's the first of the season, so
Yeah.
I guess they kind of want to go all out for it. But uh at the end of the episode, Linda kind of gets fed up with Louise and runs off crying, and they have a good like reconciliation at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Bob's Burgers is definitely my favorite. I think like the freshest out of the 3
Mhm.
Fox Family sitcoms. There is a new
Being like
one,
Family Guy and
Simpsons, but there is a new one
yeah.
called Cripopolis made by Dan Harmon. That's
Oh,
out.
I saw some ads for it. It doesn't look that good. It looks pretty generic.
Yeah, but no, Bob's Burgers definitely has that wholesomeness. I think that
Mhm.
doesn't come from Family Guy and The Simpsons, because
Yeah, I think. I mean, they haven't run for like that long, right?
yeah, like I mean,
But like,
yeah,
but even like in the amount of time that The Simpsons had run and Family Guy had run, like as long as Bob's Burgers, like there's Bob Burgers still does like emotional moments and things,
yeah,
like pretty frequently. They're still pretty good at doing that, as opposed to
yeah. No,
Simpsons and Family Guy, which have them like kind of scattered about.
I could that because I don't hear like people. Oh, I still really watch The Simpsons now. I mean, I
Yeah,
do that, but I can hear people saying like, I still watch Bob's Burgers,
yeah,
rather
yeah.
than watching Family Guy and The Simpsons. Like, I mean, nobody watches fucking Family Guy unless it's a clip on Instagram
No,
or
that's
something.
me. Yeah. Um,
But yeah,
I mean, I think they're just because the characters are nice to each. Well, they're
yeah,
like as nice as like a family can be, right?
yeah.
Like they actually are enjoyable to watch rather than like there goes Homer getting drunk and strangling his son again,
There goes
or there
Peter and
goes
Lois making fun of Meg for the millionth time.
committing genocide for the 8th time this episode.
Yeah, but no, I definitely. Because like Bob's Burgers is just kind of like it's like a fun season. There's nothing really big with Bob's Burgers or any of these shows really, but
No,
they're always
it's really it's really grounded. Like they'll
yeah
have some outlandish episodes, like
yeah
like they'll put them in dangerous situations, like the movie or
yeah
like the what is it called, the two-parter in
yeah.
season 5.
My personal favorite episode of Bob's Burgers is the one where they're at like the mansion, they're having like a water balloon fight. That episode,
That's a good episode. I think that one, Turkey in the Can, is also a really good episode.
episode. Oh, the other. I like the Thanksgiving episodes. Those are good.
I mean, yeah, because they lean into Bob a lot.
Yeah, because
Any
it's a
episode that
food.
lean,
It's a food show.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
But so you're starting the new season off, so that's
Mhm.
exciting. So we're gonna see that. It's really interesting how we're seeing kind of like the last remnants. I feel like of the 20 episode seasons, because like
Mhm.
even like I think regular animated sitcoms. I don't know if they don't really do that now. We're seeing this is the last kind of
No,
remnants of this
yeah,
thing.
they're usually like 10 now, right?
Yeah.
Before they either get 2 more seasons, get canned, or go forever.
Yeah, and even like regular sitcoms, like on ABC or Fox, I've been seeing have been
Mhm.
short down to 10 episodes. So
Yeah.
these kind of like shows are going to be like really being shortened down because I think like I don't assume Cripopolis is going to be 20 seasons. I think it's going to be like
Oh,
10.
there's no way. I think it's gonna I think it's gonna be like 10 episodes, 1 season, never picked up again, barely watched.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the last remnant. These like Bob's Burgers,
Yeah.
Simpsons, Family Guy. Do you ever hear about the Great North or watch that? I watched like the first season.
I watched the first season, or at least some of it, and I thought it was entertaining.
Mhm.
I need to go back to it, and then I also need to watch the Central Park show.
Yeah, I would say I think I watched like a few episodes of Central Park. I think Grey North is more interesting than that. But
Mhm.
even after season 1, I was like, I don't really feel that compelled to watch it. But
I mean, I thought it was entertaining.
It was
from
good,
what I
but
do remember.
there's
I mean, I
no
don't want to
yeah.
watch. Central Park is pretty music oriented, right?
Yeah. And the
Okay.
music part's never been my favorite part of Bob's Burgers. And
Okay, I'm a pretty big fan of the music stuff, so
yeah. So I guess
that's
yeah.
like one reason I want to check out Central Park. But
Yeah. But okay, I guess I'll do my turn now.
your turn.
So
After
I
that
haven't been
long
watching
public.
much this week. What I have been doing so far, I've
Mhm.
rewatched 2 seasons of television, and they're both so technically 16 episodes in all, but they're both
Yeah.
8 episodes, hour-long episodes, and while I'm doing homework. So I'll just say this one first. So
Yeah.
there's this TV show called True Detective. I've mentioned it before. So True Detective, essentially, it's a really gritty drama, you know. Each season's like a new detective story that they're trying to figure out. And the first season was universally acclaimed by critics, and everybody
All critics.
really liked it. But unfortunately, season 2 dropped the ball so hard that they kind of canceled the show.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, but they only brought it back in so it was like the seasons were, I think, in like 2013 and 2014, canceled it. But then they came back for like a third season in 2017.
Interesting.
And now they're coming off with a True Detective Night County thing that's coming in January. So I was thinking
Okay.
I'll watch like one of the best seasons of television I think I've ever seen. So you know Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
So he and Woody Harrelson, who are like friends in real life, they play
Hmm.
detectives, and like Matthew McConaughey's character, he's like a really deep thinker. He's kind of like anti-human in a way, and he's like,
Yeah.
time is a flat circle. And so essentially the story is kind of told in 2 parts. We again see like the 1995 story where they're trying to figure out a girl who was killed at they found like a girl who's been like tied up to be in like a ritual kind of killing, like occult kind of
Interesting.
way.
Hmm.
And then we get cut to forward time where they, like 12 years later, are being interviewed by these new cops, and they're like telling their own story. And so that's like in the future and the past, and we're seeing how they figure out the case, caught the killer they thought, and then how they
Hmm.
broke up, and then that's what was kind of that's the structure for the first 6 episodes. But in the
Yeah.
last 2 episodes, all take place in the modern time, where they figure out who the real killer was of the 1995 case. And
That sounds awesome.
it was a very good season of television from what I remember. I really liked it. Like it has a lot of provoking themes about like humanity and what it means to be human, and like the battle of light versus dark. It's very, I guess, disassociative of reality, but it was very
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think that concept of switching between the two times is
Yeah.
cool.
What I think season 2 kind of lacked, it didn't have a time
Mhm.
switch. It didn't have any of that thing. And
Yeah.
so that's why in season 3 they did it again, where in season 3 they had 3 main timelines.
Oh.
But I would say season 3, I was still not the best. I think season 1 is still the iconic. 'Cause, it's kind of interesting when the show goes so hard in season 1 just to
Mhm.
kind of flatline in the other two. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean, have you ever had like a show like that?
Um. I mean, I've definitely had. I mean, one that comes to mind that's like the biggest example is like SpongeBob, right? Or
Yeah.
like any long running TV
Yeah.
show that like goes like Simpsons, Family Guy. We talked about earlier. Those have the same kind of started off really strong, flatline, go downhill a little
Yeah.
bit. Um.
Yeah, but that's
I
kind of
get.
like a gradual decrease, I would
Yeah.
say. I would say
Yeah,
like,
but rather
yeah,
like I'm trying to
nothing's
think of like one that has a drop off. Um. I don't know.
hmm. Oh, yeah. And so that, because like, yeah, I was rewatching that, and it's because like they have
Hmm.
really interesting scenes. They have like, there's this one thing episode in season 4 where it's like a really long take of them, of like there's like some like someone's robbing a house, and there's like a really long take of
Hmm.
them following it out. And I always love the tracking shots. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's yeah, but I don't know. And so I'm not gonna watch season 2 because that wasn't as good. And what's cool is this is an anthology show, so I don't have to watch every season or
Oh,
anything.
awesome. Okay, cool.
Because yeah, so it's anthology. So that story is a recap with all in perfectly in season 1. There's a new season story in season 2, a new story in season 3, and this new show, True Detective Night County, which is made by a different guy who made the original show. Because apparently, after the success of season 1, he got in his head about it. And he got like kind of douchey about it. So maybe that was the reason why. But
okay, is Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson in all the seasons? Or
no,
is it
just the first season. It's a completely new actors and characters, a new season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of in an era, the Matthew McConaughey, where because Matthew McConaughey is kind of known for doing rom-coms in the 90s and stuff. But now he had kind of like a career renaissance in like, I guess, mid 2010s, where it's like, you know, he did Interstellar, Dallas Buyers Club, this show. It's like where he did more gritty stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the first show, but I'm gonna let your turn now.
Okay, I'll continue with the show. I only watched a single episode because only one episode came out.
Really?
I watched Loki.
I have not watched Loki, so you can tell me.
You haven't watched Loki at all?
I haven't watched Loki at all. I was going to, but I was like, you know, I'm gonna say this. After Secret Invasion, I'm really burned out in Marvel stuff, so I don't know.
I get it, but Loki's actually good.
But from what I remember, Loki was pretty good.
Loki is actually good.
Well, it's just the first episode, so you can tell me what happens.
It's true. Okay, so last we saw of Loki. Okay, I actually looked up the plot to Quantumania before I watched this. So
wait, how are they going to do this with the Jonathan Majors arrest situation?
His iconography is still in the movie. It's still him, I think.
Okay.
But so last time technically we saw, so apparently Loki's in the end credits scene for Quantumania.
Right.
With Mobius.
How does season 1 end again? I don't remember.
He gets kicked through a portal by Sylvie, who then kills Kang, and he says, "See you soon." And that's the last time we see Sylvie. And then Loki's back in the TVA, and he runs to Mobius and the one girl, I don't remember her name. And he's like, "Guys, he's coming. He's coming." And he's like, and Owen Wilson's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "What the fuck, Owen Wilson? It's me."
It's me. Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then he sees like the statue of Kang. So this episode starts off with him being chased by TVA agents and Owen Wilson, and he's running and running. He's like running away, and then his body. The only way I hold on. Do I have like a piece of paper? The only way I can describe what happens to him. Here's a plastic bag. Like this is what happens to him. Something like that.
So he stretches or something?
Yeah, he stretches and goes all wiggly woggly, and it's kind of nasty and weird. Visual effect though. But then he like ends up in the past.
Oh, okay.
Or no, he was in the past before, and now he's in the present.
Okay.
After being like chased, and he sees some other character from season 1 that I don't remember, and he's like, "Help me! Do you remember me now?" Because he saw him in the past. He's like, "Do you remember me now?" And he sees a crack on the floor that he made in the past. He's like, "Was that crack always there?" And then he figures out he's in the past. And he's like, "Okay, where's Mobius?" He's like, "Oh, he's over there." And then he disappears again back into the past.
Too much time shit. It's so much. Yeah.
So then it goes to Mobius and the one girl.
Okay.
And they go to like somebody and they're like, "Hey, we can't prune things anymore because if we prune things, that means the timeline gets erased, and that means we're killing millions of uncountless amounts of people every time we prune universes."
Okay. Why? And is that didn't they do that before though? So I'm like,
yeah, but then they're realizing that it's just like killing everyone.
Yeah.
So now then they're like, we probably shouldn't be doing that.
I guess it's more theoretical murder, you know?
Yeah. But that part right there with the like Mobius and what's her face and like the talking to like the higher ups is pretty boring, I'll say. Like that section of the episode, it's like 5 minutes of talking and it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Well, Loki's kind of just fucking off, jumping through time.
Okay.
And then he gets to the room that Mobius is in the past, and he sees that the wall that in the future has like a mural of the timekeepers has like Jonathan Major's face all over it, right? Has King's face all over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so then he comes back to the present, and everyone's like, "What the fuck, Loki? Where did you just come from?" And he's like, "Guys, we're fucked. Okay, we're so screwed. Like, we're so screwed."
Okay.
And so there's some like talking between Mobius and Loki, and they're like, "So what happened to you?" And he's like, "I don't know what happened, but I was in the past." And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then Loki's like, okay, or he's like doing the time jump. He's like, "We have to find Sylvie. We have to prepare for Kang." And Mobius is like, "Okay, but Loki first. I know how important that is, but you're like disappearing and reappearing. We need to go fix that real quick." So then they go downstairs to like the mail room or some shit. And then what's the actor's name? The guy,
Oh,
the
the guy
guy in
from
everywhere.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, I heard he's
Yeah,
in
the
it.
guy that played
Ku
Data in
Kwei
Short Round.
Ku Kwei Kwan or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so his name is in the show it's Ouroboros, but they call him Obi, and it's like, and they go down and it's like, "I haven't been here in like 400 years." And the Obi is like, "Hey, Mobius, it's you," and he's like, "Hey, what
Obi.
Loki?" This is because he doesn't remember his name
Oh.
because he hasn't been there in like 400 years. But Obi remembers him because Mobius was his last visitor in 400 years.
Ah, that makes sense.
And
That's
then
pretty funny.
they do a cool thing where it's like, okay, so what's happening with Loki is he's time slipping, but that's not possible in the TVA. And it's like, what do you mean that's not possible in the TVA? It's like, well, it's never happened before. And then Loki time slips into the past and talks with Obi in the past. Which is
okay.
so it's what they have. So Mobius and Loki have like a similar dialogue exchange with Obi, where it's like, "So how do we stop it? You can't." And then it like switches to Loki. He's like, "What do you mean you can't?" And Obi's like, "Well, you just can't fix it unless you have this thing." And Mobius is like, "Do you have that thing?" He's like, "No, I don't have that thing." And it's back to Loki. He's like, "Oh, actually, I can make one right now." And then he makes it, and then he remembers in the future. He's like, "Oh wait, I have one actually." So like Loki talking to Obi like directly affects the
Okay.
conversation with Mobius, which was just like a really cool scene, I think.
No, that sounds cool
Yeah.
conceptually. Yeah. Yeah. And so, wait, is that it or more? Yeah.
No. So they have a thing, and they're like, "Okay, so Loki, you need to go prune yourself," and then uh Mobius has to go stand outside on like a platform next to like the universe web or whatever. He has to go stand out there.
Yeah.
And he has like whatever amount of time before he dies. And then if Loki prunes himself and it doesn't succeed, like they can both die
Okay.
from this procedure to get Loki back into the present without time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
then just like stakes happen. And Loki, right as he's about to prune himself, time slips back to the past and he doesn't have the like pruning stick anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they're like, okay, well, fuck. And then Mobius goes outside. Loki's in the past where like they're doing the thing. And when they were in the present, Mobius wrote something like in the dust on something. And when Loki goes back, that thing is still written on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So then he's like, okay, so I'm in the future.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. This is a lot of time moving. So yeah, but I think I catch up now. Okay.
It's really cool. I think like they do time well in the show.
Yeah, no, the way they did it, from what I remember, was really interesting because like it was like a different kind of way of like pruning things. It's like but do you know what like kind of like I don't know, is there a way because there's like different types of time travel? Which way is this classified as? You know, do we know?
Not really, because technically the TVA doesn't have time.
Right.
Like time doesn't really pass there.
Mm.
So it's like because when Loki's like, I went to the past, and Mobius is like, there is no past. It's the TVA that doesn't exist.
Right.
So it was just like a cool thing, but
Loki
ends up in the past.
Continue.
Loki ends up in the past. He's trying to find like a pruning stick or whatever, but it's not the past, it's the future because the thing was written on it.
Yeah.
And he's like walking around, he's trying to find something. Mobius has like 30 seconds before like he dies or whatever, or before like the shields close because like the whole multiversal web is unstable because of Kang being dead.
Okay. Yeah.
So Loki's in the past. He hears a phone ringing. And he's like walking towards the phone, and there's this elevator door that opens, and Sylvie's in it.
Yeah,
it's Sylvie, and she's like, "Oh, there you are! I found you finally!" And then he gets pruned.
Twist to the cliffhanger for the end. Guess what?
I don't know.
He's the
episode's not over though.
Oh, he's not.
The episode's not over. No,
that was gonna be. That sounded like a good way to end
it. No, because they wanted him to get pruned. Remember?
Right.
And so then he comes back, and he's not time slipping anymore. Now he's back.
Right.
In the whatever.
Is like the prune land or like the place where
No, he's no because he got pulled out of the time stream by Mobius. That was the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
They had to pull him out of the time stream as he got pruned.
I mean, it sounds interesting.
And then they make it back, and then they're all good. And then he's like, "Oh my, we got to go find Sylvie now." And that was the end of the episode. But there was an end credit scene for the episode.
For the first episode. Wow.
Yeah, so it takes place in like 1980 something in Oklahoma, and it's Sylvie, and she goes to a McDonald's, and she's like, "I want to try everything. I want to try all the McDonald's. I want to try all the stuff. I want to do everything," because now she's like kind of free and can do her own thing.
Cool.
Rather than having to
McDonald's.
run from the her life.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah, but overall, it was really interesting.
I mean, it does sound interesting. I'm not gonna say I probably will watch it so I can get on the same page because I was a bit lost.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, what does a Loki season mean now? Because in the first season took place in like kind of like a rise of the MCU. We had WandaVision, Falcon and the Soldier, Loki. But now that it's been like 2 years and a bunch of like shit has passed, like so many different things. The Jonathan Majors arrest. The shitty Marvel movies, the bad like Secret Invasions. That's kind of like a reluctance. What does this season mean for the MCU? I don't. So it's kind of struggling.
Well, I think though, because Loki, I don't know, because Loki is super important to the plot of the MCU. I think.
Yeah. But
they really tried with the first season. The first season was really good.
Yeah.
And this season, I think they're trying again. Like, it's well written. All the shots are pretty okay. For some reason, they do like shaky camera for like half of it, which is kind of weird. Like, it's in like distressful situations, but like, there's really shaky, and it really stood out. They're like handheld shaky camera. It was weird.
Yeah.
But the cinematography was pretty cool. The visual effects were pretty cool.
If I rewatch it, I think I might rewatch the first season so I could get more of a understand.
I just watched watched a 10-minute recap.
Okay, maybe I'll do that. But sometimes I just like enjoy the rewatch.
That's true. I get it.
No, but it's like I wonder how this kind of fits in this larger narrative of the MCU now in this multiversal area.
I don't know if it really does though, because the first season was entirely disconnected. What happened in season 1 had no ramifications on anything else.
Yeah, because that was a time where we were saying so many different multiversal things, like Doctor Strange, the Spider-Man thing, now Loki.
Yeah.
It's like WandaVision.
Quantumania exists
Quantumania.
Too,
but it's like, and they really just don't know what they are gonna do and how heavy. Because like Kang didn't appear in this episode, right? No? Okay.
I mean, he's like mentioned, right?
Yeah, but so I assume he's going to be a pretty big figure, and I just really don't know what they're going to do with this whole Jonathan Majors thing.
I don't know, because they keep using his iconography.
Yeah, and so, because I assume this was filmed like a while ago, before the whole thing.
Apparently, though, they did everything, all of their, they didn't have to refilm anything. They only used like the original takes for everything. That's what I saw, yeah.
Well, that might be better. So like, I think there might just, if they do use him in a larger context, they might just need a recast, and that might be the best option. But I just like, I'll see that Loki's probably enjoyable, but I just don't know where this would lead, where the future of the MCU is leading right now. I guess
I don't really know either.
But
We'll have to wait and see.
I guess that is the ultimate lesson of everything. Wait and see.
Yeah, I'll keep talking about it for as episodes.
I'll get.
I want. It's probably gonna just be 6 episodes like last time.
Yeah, which I mean, that's been like the Marvel method, you know.
Yeah.
6 episodes. WandaVision had like 9.
That's true, but that was their first show.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Marvel. Okay, I wonder how many.
Was that
Miss Marvel? I think that was like 6 or something, maybe 8. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Surprisingly, I think I've watched every single MCU show except for now, which I probably will by the time next week. But
this is the first Marvel thing I've seen since the Christmas special.
Wow.
And then the only things I've seen since Endgame were WandaVision, Loki, What If, Falcon Winter Soldier, Spider-Man, Christmas special. Which is like holding up this many fingers is like that's a lot, but also that's been in like the past 3 years and they've released like so much content.
Yeah.
So I am missing a lot of stuff, and I will go back and rewatch it because as sloggy and corporate,
you don't need to watch Quantumania.
I'll still watch it. I like Paul Rudd a lot.
Yeah, that one was like such a weird movie, you know.
I watched. I mean, I read the plot on Wikipedia. It looked pretty bad.
Yeah, no, but it kind of gets me reminding of like what I'm thinking of, like where all this is kind of leading to. I'm thinking about like now a Rick and Morty season 7. What does a Rick and Morty season 7 mean now after everything has happened? Because I read like an article about like Dan Harmon like he talked about like splitting away from Justin Roiland, and so arguably I think this might be the season that has everything to prove in a Rick and Morty season now that it has separated from this integral part, because we're seeing, because we had like the heyday of Rick and Morty season 1 to 3, 2 and 3, and then we had kind of like a lull season in season 4 and 5 with like a few good here and there, and then
like Vat of Acid or something.
And then we had a season 6, which will really start a solid season, and we're seeing that it was really good. But then, bam, the Justin Roiland thing happened, which felt kind of hindering, I'm gonna say. But if they are able to pull off a season 7 now, I feel like they could take this stretch all the way up into the end of the 10-season run. And then I feel like that's just kind of a natural stopping point, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, well, they said they were going to do it for 100 years, so I don't know.
Because, like, after season 3, they got the 70-order run. So I feel like maybe that's the natural conclusion. But
I'm sure they have something planned out for, like, season 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
They have to have some groundwork. Like, this is the main plot beats that's going to happen here. Yeah. They have to have it planned out. There's no way they don't.
Because I think they've written 8 by now and maybe working on 9.
Maybe.
Or I think 8 might be an animation or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
No, because like now we're seeing like a new version of Rick and Morty, which I think, because it said in the article they had like a really big falling out that basically, because season 1 was kind of like their baby, season 2 Dan brought some new writers in to make it more like an official show, and then like they felt like isolated between the two, and then he basically has stopped. Justin stopped writing on the show after season 2. He just did the voices and kind of became a sword to work with, and then after this thing, they've totally been, their friendship has like decimated. I haven't talked since 2019, I think.
Oh wow.
And so what does this season need to prove? And so arguably I'm just thinking about like both of these, like they're not clear parallel, but I'm thinking of like Rick and Morty and Loki, like what is all leading to? But I guess the question is wait and see.
Yeah. So what was the other show you rewatched? It's back to you.
Okay, this actually has kind of like a tour. So
a tour. Ooh.
So because they're in the same universe. So I rewatched The Boys season 3, and I watched the Gen V, and so I'll have I'll do a little discussion. Because Nicola, because you're not gonna see the show, I assume, Gen V.
Yeah. I probably won't.
Yeah, so I'll explain what actually happens in the first 2 episodes of the new season of Gen V. So essentially, Gen V, college for superheroes in the same universe. And so we follow like a group of college students. Their powers are kind of more interesting, like the basic superpowers. You got the blood girl, tiny girl, tiny hugging dick girl, who can not like Ant-Man, she can turn big too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to make small, she purges.
Does she have to?
She has to eat food to become big.
Oh, just eat food normally?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. She doesn't have to like throw up. She doesn't have to eat her vomit. Wait. Is it every time she eats food, or she can eat food and then choose?
Yeah, I feel like she has to eat a lot of food or something.
Okay.
Because when she was doing it, she was like throwing down spaghetti. And so it's like very happy, like she was the main character, Marie. She has her blood superpowers, and she's really happy to be at the college. She wants to be the first Black woman into the Seven, which is like the Justice League of this universe. It's what
Very cool.
in the boys, the Seven is what our main team is. We have like the Homelander, and like the kind of like a Justice League parody, and those are kind of like not because some of the characters are good. Those are kind of like the main villains of the boys, the Seven, but specifically the Homelander character. He's the main, because even obviously you know who Homelander is. That's
of course,
he's reached meme popularity higher and higher.
Yeah,
but so yeah, so we seeing in the first 3 episodes they're called Godolphin University, and this is because the comics are really, really different. This adaptation is very loose, and the comics are really different, but in kind of a better way, because the TV shows are better than the comics, I would say.
I've heard this from a lot of places.
Yeah, and so in the comic book, they're more of the Godolphin University is more of a X-Men parody. Yeah, and it's the good.
The fuck.
Oh yeah!
What did this do? Show up.
For the audio listener, balloons popped up when I motioned my hand. So, no, I get
that's crazy. Okay, so it was an X-Men parody. Is it something different now?
It's more of like just like college for superheroes, like in this universe. And in the comics, it was like the main guy who led the team was Godolphin. He was like a pedophile. It was a bit darker and weirder. In the show, our leader. So I'll explain. In the first episode, we see this team. It's like we get like the popular guy whose name is Golden Boy, and he's like so hot. He has like a flaming. He's like the Human Torch. He's so sexy. He has a girlfriend whose power is she like by human touch she can make anyone do anything she wants. She says, "Oh, go there," and they'll go there. And so that's why she wears gloves, kind of like a Rogue parody or something.
I see. Yeah.
So that's her thing. And we have like a character whose power is like they can switch gender, but each gender has like different has different superpowers. About this last week. Yeah, they have different superpowers though. But then it turns out our main guy, Golden Boy, he has a brother who they're keeping in like a superhero lab, like under the school or something. And and so so our main character, Murray, with the blood powers. There's also a guy called one of the other like popular guys. He's kind of like a Magneto kind of character. He can control metal, and his dad was like a really popular superhero called Polarity. And so the first episode is like, oh, you're a chill, they're becoming friends, and then like Golden Boy starts like getting like visions, and then he starts freaking out, and then he goes to like the head of the school. And then Marie, who goes to meet him about something else, she finds him, and then Golden Boy has killed the head of the school. And then he runs out, and she fights against him, but not really, because it's the bigender person who fights against him.
Okay.
And then because the Magneto guy and him are best friends, and then he manages to stop him, and they hug. But then he's like, "I'm sorry," and then he goes up into the sky, Golden Boy, and kills himself. And then
kills himself.
Yeah.
Oh, with his friend?
No, he walked away and said, "I'm sorry," and then like goes into the sky and kills himself.
Oh wow!
And then they call it like a murder suicide because he killed the head of the school and himself.
Yeah.
And then he's like bashed in the media, and then like Marie's like praised for saving him, and for fighting him, and then because they did this thing, it's like a parody of like college athletes because they have rankings in the school. And it's like, and now she got up to number 5, and like no, they kind of lowered the ranking of the bi-gender superhero who actually fought Golden Boy, because bi-gender doesn't really play well in Jacksonville, you know.
That's crazy.
And so that's like and then there's this new like the roommate character who can shrink. No, she's having her own like kind of crises because she has like, because it's a metaphor for bulimia, you know, because she has to put it down. And there's a lot of metaphors because like in order to get her superpowers, you know, the girl has to kind of cut herself into metaphor for cutting yourself.
Oh, I get it. And then is the
suicide is metaphor for suicide.
Is the non-binary character or whatever, is she a reference to being non-binary, or
trans issues? You can kind of clump it, but and so they're doing that, and so they kind of like the Magneto kid who's trying to figure out what's happening, and then he figure out there's like the wood, like the thing they called the lab downstairs where containing all the superheroes, the woods for some reason, or like there's a mystery with the woods or something. And Luke's brother, the Golden Boy brother, he's kind of like crazy, and he's a very strong superhero. They call him Soups in this universe. And so he's very
What's his power?
He's just really strong and can jump, I guess.
Okay.
But, so they're figuring it out. At the end of episode 3, the tiny girl is sent by the Magneto kid to send out to go get the brother, and then but then the guards come in, and then she's like, "Oh fuck!" and then she kills the guard by going through his head, and then the end of the episode, she's like coming out of his ear bloody, and then oh fuck, and then that's the end of the first 3 episodes, because Amazon does this thing with The Boys, which I kind of like. It releases the first 3 episodes, and then the rest of the 5 is weekly, so it gets you invested, and then weekly. I did that with the second and third season of The Boys.
Didn't they only release 2 episodes last week, though?
It was 3.
Oh, it was 3? Okay. Oh, you just didn't watch them.
Yeah. I was. Okay. Yeah, I did watch, because I don't want to say because of Nicola. So I just want to explain before I get to episode 4. Okay. And so then that's the end of episode 4. Episode 4, they're like the little girl and the brother managed to escape. And so they're trying to figure out that, and then the main group, they figure out they need to find the little girl and the brother, and that's a thing. And they try to figure where he went. And there's just one moment in the episode where like the main character goes to a psychic whose power is like psychic, and she wants, "Help me find my friend, because you're a psychic, right?" or something. Yeah. And so he does that, and then she flashes out, and she wakes up kind of unconscious, and he's like in a robe about to have sex with her unconscious because he roofied her with his powers.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but then she's like, because her powers are blood, and then his dick starts kind of like ballooning with blood, and she doesn't really know what's going on. And then the dick pops. And that was really gross, seeing his dick pop. Yeah. And so
was this one a real penis also, like the
I think it was a prosthetic dick. I think it might have been.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross. They're really committed to this bit.
No, because in the beginning of season 3, there is a guy, a little Ant-Man guy, who goes inside a dick, and then the dick. No, this might be the most NSW show I think I've ever seen. But
that's incredible.
It is truly incredible. There's this episode in season 3 that's just called Hero Gasm, and that's just like a superhero orgy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Harley Quinn had the same thing, but
Yeah.
I assume less graphic.
Yeah, no, there was dicks and tits flying all over the place. But
you hate those.
Yeah, I hate them. Anyway, there's this character called TEK who's doing like a documentary series, and he's based off his counterpart character in the comics, who is called TEK, and he's like a Batman, Iron Man parody. And in the comic, they do reference it. In the show, he's kind of more adapted to be more like a Sherlock Holmes kind of guy, like he can tell your senses. But in the comic book, he's kind of like more. He has his own little story in the comic book where he's like, he has an addiction to fucking holes, and he can't stop fucking holes. And
what the fuck?
And he wants to fuck everything he sees, and then it turns out he has a tumor in his brain, and and so then he actually wanted to fuck his teenage sidekick, and that's why they expelled him from his the team, because he looked at his sidekick's ass and was like, I gotta fuck it. His Alfred in the comic book, he tried to fuck his left ear, and so that's why the butler left, because like, you fucked me in the ear, so I'm leaving.
Yeah, but he doesn't do this in the show.
I'll get to that.
Oh no!
And so in the comic book, his character ends with like he saves a mother and daughter from getting killed by a wheelbarrow, and then he sees an asteroid, and then he saves the planet by fucking the
asteroid.
Yeah.
My god! No way.
But then it turns out he never actually did that, and then after saving the mother and daughter with the wheelbarrow, he actually just fell on his head and died, and that was like a last brain thing. In the show, it's adapted to be more of a Sherlock Holmes like character, and I feel like it's good they place him in here, because in the main show I don't feel like I could fit where he would be, but they add him here pretty well. And if you rewatch the episode, there's a lot of things where he mentions a lot of like, kind of like when he gets a bagel, he kind of like circles the hole, or then instead of saying like you're because he make like. Because the Magneto kid, after Golden Boy dies, he starts having sex with the old girlfriend of Golden Boy, and he says, "So how long you been licking Golden Boy's girlfriend's hole?" And why would you say hole, not like pussy or something, And then he looks at a tree with a tree pussy, No, when you see
I know what you mean by tree pussy, but that's not what they're called. But I don't know what they're called, so we'll just keep calling them that.
And then he looks at it like give me 5 minutes. And so eventually he plans, because he wants to tell Vought, which is like the superhero company, like what happened with Golden Boy, and he plans to blackmail the dean of the school. And he says
because he's a detective and he figured it out.
Yeah, and they also say like he's like all of his like suspects he brutally paralyzes, which I think is like a reference to how Batman really beats up his all the people. And so he plans to blame it on the dean, because he doesn't want to. You shouldn't do it to the top 5 of the school, because they might be earners for Vought later.
Yeah.
And so but then she goes all like, No. I'm not. You don't blame me. And then she brings up a fucking video of kind of like a 3-minute montage of him fucking different holes around the school, a tree, a vacuum. The heat warmers in the bathrooms. So him trying to do that, and he's like,
oh god,
okay, you caught me. And so that's where his character ends for the show. Maybe we'll see him again.
There's no way. Okay, if he dies in the probably dies in the show in the same dumbass way.
It's an enjoyable show, and because guys, but the only thing is I feel like this kind of needs to be maybe a 1-season show, because it doesn't feel like anything really more than kind of like a prelude to The Boys season 4.
Do you think that just the character, they're just going to end it at season 1 and then just have the character in Gen V?
Maybe I could see that, because I really don't see I feel like I don't know how much this show can go without referencing the bigger universe, because Homelander has done like big things in the show that I feel like has to ripple into the main story.
Yeah.
But and like the boys, which is like the non-super power, like the regular humans who are fighting against the superheroes, I feel like their actions need to be kind of mentioned, and so I feel like they're setting up maybe actions and like teasing up stuff for the season. I feel like it's kind of like a prologue or something.
Okay. Do we know where Gen V takes place in like the timeline?
It
Like,
takes
is it
place right now. There's 3 seasons, and it takes place after season 3, and
okay?
I I hadn't watched season 3 in a while because the last time it came, like the season 3 came out, like in the summer before 12th grade,
Okay.
and so I hadn't seen it. So I wanted to I'll rewatch it, and it was a pretty tight season, pretty good season. Season 1 I still think was the best. Season
Yeah.
3 and then season 2, and so we're gonna see how Gen V ranks around that. But no, it was a good watch, a good rewatch because in that season they get this character, who's like a Captain America kind of parody, Soldier Boy. In season 2 they had like kind of maybe like I guess a Shazam. Because in the comic book he's more of a Shazam parody. But in the show he's played by a girl called Stormfront, who turns out to
Yeah.
be a Nazi.
Oh my god, we hate those guys.
Yeah, and so Homelander falls in love with her, but then
Yeah.
Nazi. And then the end of season 3 is a really, really compelling ending because like we've been teasing Homelander's gonna go crazy all, and then like because Homelander is kind of a stand-in for Trump and Superman if they were like one person or something. Because then he has like a rally where they're all like, there's a sign that says God, guns, and Homelander, obviously.
Yeah.
And so then he's all like, but then there's like because like a Democrat or something, or like because like there's a character called Starlight in The Boys.
Yeah.
Who's more like I guess liberal, and then she's like against Homelander in that team, and then like a guy who supports her like throws like a water bottle at Homelander's superhero son, and Homelander's head, he lasers him in the head, and the crowd just goes silent until one guy's all like, "Yeah, let's go," and then the entire crowd's all like, "Fuck yeah."
Is that the clip where he goes?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
And then he like smiles, and then and so they're hyping out like it's a reference to how Trump said, I think I can shoot a person in the middle of Times Square. I would not lose a single voter. And so we're seeing how like he's being supported by the public with his public murders, and so they led to a really scary thing. But Homelander was always crazy. But what was really shocking was that the camera then switched to his son, who started smiling, and thus he's creating a new kind of like Homelander, and so that's
new crazy ass. Yeah.
And so I rewatched it, and it was a really tight, good season of TV, and I'm enjoying. This is kind of Gen V is kind of like my fix for it now, but I don't know how much can it really be important, because that's part of the spin-off problem. If it's not like a prequel and it's like a current story, how does that really work?
Yeah, I get it.
But what I will be excited for when Invincible comes out, and you should watch that. You haven't watched that.
I'll watch Invincible before season 2 comes out. When is that?
I think November.
Okay, I can watch it by then.
And so that's really all I have been watching. So you can take it away.
All right, I have 3 more things. I'll gloss over one of them, and then the other ones I'm gonna clump together and talk about them. So the one that I watched, Some Like It Hot. It's like a 50s black and white movie.
They represented Futurama, I think, or something.
Maybe. So basically, it's these 2 guys. They they witnessed like the mob killing a bunch of people, and now the mob is after them. Or
is this black and white?
It's in black and white. Yeah, it's filmed in the 50s, but it takes place in the 30s, like during Prohibition.
Let me guess. You had to watch it for your like film history class or something.
I did have to watch it for my film history class. I also watched Shanghai Express for my film history class, but I watched it at 3 times speed, so I'm not gonna count it. But I did like Some Like It Hot. It was pretty funny. It's a comedy movie. It was very snowball or screwball comedy. You know the phrase like this movie would never have been made today, right?
Yeah.
So this whole movie, the two main characters dress up as women to sneak into an all-girls band. This movie could not be made today. It's very like
Maybe.
it's like
Yeah.
it's transphobic.
Yeah.
But like it was a fun movie. I don't like the main character of Joe. I think he's really annoying. The other character is way funnier.
Really?
I don't even remember his his regular guy name, but his like girl name is Daphne. He's just way funnier.
So what exactly happens in the movie? Just to recap.
They run away from the mob by joining an all-girls band dressed up as women, and then they go to Florida. They're like in the band or whatever, and they want to get with this one girl. Her name is Sugar. She's played by Marilyn Monroe. So there's a bit of a love triangle between Daphne and Josephine and Sugar, except Daphne gets pretty much sidelined almost immediately, and some other guy.
Wouldn't that mean Sugar would be a lesbian if they're trying to be girls?
No, they don't. Well, she's not in love with them.
No.
But I don't know, it's just weird. And then Joe like switches out of his like woman attire and pretends to be some rich guy, like the owner of the Shell gas station company. And pretends to be rich and pretends to own a yacht, and shenanigans happen. He gets with Sugar, and the mob finds them, and they run away from the mob, and they get on a yacht, and it's all happy. It was funny.
I mean, it's kind of weird because these old movies, they're just kind of like they're just in an insanely different world than we are right now.
Yeah, it feels weird, but like it was still a good movie. Still fun.
No, I don't doubt it was a good movie, but because I've been watching movies for my film history class. It's like so weird just seeing them in like black and white, and I've watched a few silent movies. I'm fine with that, but it's so different than what we're used to now. It kind of makes you kind of appreciate how we got to this point. And
a little bit,
yeah. But some like it. I want a remake with Logan Paul and Jake Paul as the guys who run from the mob.
I can't, and have like Millie Bobby Brown replace Marilyn Monroe or something.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did I watch? Wes Anderson Roald Dahl short films.
Was that The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar?
So there was 4 that he made. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, The Swan, Poison, and The Rat Catcher.
And they all released at once, or
they all released at once? Yeah.
That's like a full movie. Or how long are they? 30 minutes.
Ratcatcher, Poison, and The Swan were all 17 minutes, and then Henry Sugar was like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay. And
so like an hour and 20 minutes to watch all 4 of them.
Okay.
Now I definitely read Henry Sugar and The Swan. The Ratcatcher I like vaguely remembered after watching it. I was like, maybe I have. The Poison I never read. So I'll explain these because I think these are interesting.
Okay, explain them.
Okay, so The Poison. This has Benedict Cumberbatch in it as like the main. So a guy comes home. He sees his roommate. His roommate's like laying still in his bed. He's like, I don't remember what the snake is called, but it's like there's like a poisonous snake on me. It slid underneath the covers and is laying on my stomach right now. Call the doctor. And so it's just like a tense situation where it's like the snake is on his stomach. They can't wake it up or it's going to bite him and he's going to die. And most of it is carried by the Wes Anderson filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. The only Wes Anderson thing I've seen is Fantastic Mr. Fox. And that was like 10 years ago. And I don't remember it very well.
The only thing I've ever seen is like, maybe like, what's that movie he did with like what was it? The Isle. It was like one of his animated ones.
Oh, The Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, I saw like the first hour of that in video production class, and I thought it was really good, but I just never Finish it. I haven't seen any other Wes Anderson things other than that.
Yeah.
He sounds like a guy I'd really like to watch his films,
Oh
but
yeah, they were incredible to watch.
they
There was like so
sound
much effort put into it. But like the twist with the poison is that there's actually no snake on him. They like, just couldn't find one. But
oh.
but it was that one was cool. I mean, that one I think was my least favorite out of them.
Okay.
And then the rat catcher is I don't really want to go into the plot of this, but it's like guy that catches rats goes to catch rats while explaining to like these two other characters like
Here's how you catch
stuff,
rats.
right? Yeah, and like I don't know if you've read Roald Dahl stuff, but you haven't.
No.
Okay, well, so Roald Dahl.
Well, maybe I have. I don't know.
When it's not like okay, so like James and the Giant Peach, Willy Wonka,
yeah,
BFG.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That.
Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar, but Roald Dahl, he writes some fucked up shit.
Really?
Yeah. So in the rat catcher, near like the end, the rat catcher's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill this mouse, and I'm not gonna use my hands, my legs. I'm not gonna really touch it at all." And so like he like bites its head off, right?
Is this animated or live action?
Live action. The thing with the rat though, there's in the rat catcher, he's like, "Here's a tin of poison that's gonna kill the rats. It's poisoned oats. Like if you ate one of these, you would fucking die." And like, here's the point. And this is actually what they did. They just held their hands out like this. There was no tin. It was just like this. And whenever they pulled out rats, it was like, "Here, I have a rat in my pocket, and I also have a ferret." And they would just like do that. That one was really interesting to have like the invisible props.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one was really dramatic. And that one was cool.
Dramatic, really.
I mean, yeah. There was definitely during the tense moment where it's like, how is he going to kill this rat without like using his hands or whatever? And
why did he do that?
Because it's fucked up. Because it's Roald Dahl. Sometimes he just likes to do that. So now we're gonna get to the Swan. In the book of like Henry Sugar and 9 other stories, the Swan is my favorite.
Really?
Because this is like it's fucked up.
Oh.
So basically, these two kids get a rifle or like a BB gun or whatever. Or no, it's like an actual, and they get it and they go shoot birds. And then they see this one kid, and the one kid's like looking at a woodpecker or whatever. And they kill the woodpecker, and he's like, "Guys, what the fuck?" And then they point the gun at him, and he's like, "Okay, I can't outrun them. I can't call for help, so I might as well just like go along with what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting that they do in this Wes Anderson one is there's a narrator, right? There's been a narrator in all 4 of these, where the narrator is like an actual character within the story.
Oh, that's fun.
So like, yeah, so they can interact, like they kind of interact with the audience.
In like what ways? What do you mean?
I don't know. Like they'll look at the camera and be like, they'll say a line of dialogue and then it's like, "I said," or something.
Okay,
they'll like, yeah.
That feels very Wes Anderson for some reason.
They're like in the movie. They are characters in the movie, the narrator. And one thing that they do is that they don't really establish the narrator in the Swan as an actual character until after a little bit, when they say that the boy that's like being held at gunpoint by these 2 other kids is actually him. So he starts switching from saying the kid's name to saying, "I was in this situation."
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, yeah. So they tied the kid to a railroad track, and they're like, "Ha, you're fucked. Better not get run over by a fucking train." And then he like digs himself underneath the train or whatever with like his head, just so he's like right low enough to do that. And they do some other shenanigans with him. They find a swan, and he's like, "Guys, don't fucking kill the swan, please. It's a swan. It could have babies. It's like a fucking swan. Don't kill it." And then they kill the swan. And then they make him swim over to it. They make him swim over to it and bring the body back. They cut its wings off, strap it to him, have him climb a tree, and they're like, "Okay, fucking jump." Out of the tree with the swan's wings that are bloody, tied to your arm, and they start shooting at him for him to jump. And
this is fucked up.
And then after he jumps, he flies around for a little bit, or they say he flies around for a little bit,
and
then lands in his front yard. His mom comes out and he's like, "What happened to you?"
I haven't. I was forced to jump, mama.
And like when they announced that they were making these,
yeah.
Like I know what happened in the Swan. I was like, it's like it's a crazy story. I wanted to know how they did it. It was really cool.
Okay. And
I'm not gonna explain what happened or like how they showed it, but it was really cool.
So it did it justice.
It did it justice.
And
then
and Henry Sugar.
Henry Sugar. So that's like
the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, right?
He's also they reuse the actors from like all four of these. They just keep reusing them for each of these. So this one is about this rich guy, Henry Sugar. He's like super pretentious and stuff, and he finds a book that's like man sees without his eyes, like a journalistic report from like Dr. whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
So then it stops being in Henry Sugar's also like the narrator in this one.
And did he talk like so is he in the story too? Okay.
Yeah, but he's like the narrator describing himself rather than it being like a third person, like I said, the narrator being is like Henry Sugar did this, and while he's doing that.
And are these narrations present in the book, or is this a Wes Anderson thing?
This is a Wes Anderson thing.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, that sounds.
If I'm remembering correctly, because I hadn't read them in a while, but I know they didn't do that with the Swan. That one wasn't first person.
Okay.
But for Henry Sugar, he finds the book. Man can see without his eyes, or whatever. So then they do a little story within a story, or they do a story within the story where it's like, guy comes to the hospital. He's like, "Hey, can you bandage my head? I'm gonna go do a circus show tonight, and I can see without my eyes, and I just a doctor to bandage it because that's how you know it's gonna be good, how it's gonna be done well, the bandaging." And so he gets bandaged. He can see without his eyes. The doctor's like, "What the hell?" And one of the doctors goes to like the circus. They see him do all these cool tricks, and they're like, "That's crazy." And then he interviews him afterwards. And then there's a third story within the story where it's the guy who can see without his eyes, his story of becoming to learn to see without his eyes.
Oh, kind of. That's interesting.
So, and then they tell that story. And then after they tell that story, it goes back to the second guy. He's like, "Okay, so now I know all this stuff. So I'm going to take the other doctor to the place, and we're going to watch it the next night." Turns out the guy who could see without his eyes is dead now. He died.
Oh.
Like after being interviewed, which is a little interesting.
Okay.
But it took him also like 20 years to be able to see without his eyes. And like his master was like, it's going to take a long time. There's like 1 in 1 billion people that is going to be able to learn it fast, but it's definitely not you. So Henry Sugar, he gets this book. He's like, "Wow, I'm going to make so much fucking money with this."
Yeah.
Even though he's like already rich as fuck. So he takes the book, he reads the book, he learns how to do the thing, and it takes him like a year to be able to like see without his eyes, but he can't do it like fast. He like gets it down to like he can focus in on like a candle flame in like a minute.
Okay.
And then he keeps training after that to be able to see the backs of poker cards.
Cool power.
And so it takes him another 2 years before he can see the back of a card and register what it is in 5 seconds.
Wow.
So then it's taken him 3 years to learn this skill, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go make money." And then he made like $35,000.
That's not a lot?
In like one night.
Or is that a lot? That is a lot. Okay.
$35,000
in a night.
In a night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then he does that, and he's like, "I don't feel anything. Like I feel terrible for doing that." Like he changes as a person after learning this skill, which is interesting. And they do a little thing where it's like, if this was a fake story, this would end now. Like he would see himself in the mirror, have a blood clot in his heart, and he would see it inching up towards his heart, and he would die. But that's not how it happened, because this isn't a fictional story. This is a real story that actually happened. Yeah. So then it switches. He's like a good guy now. He steals the money still, but he donates that. He like makes orphanages and like homeless shelters and stuff, like using this scamming technique, being able to see without his like through things, right?
Right.
And so he does eventually die at the end via like the way they told, like it said.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it ends. And one thing that's interesting is that they have a Roald Dahl stand-in all 4 of these stories that sometimes it'll cut to him talking. So it was actually 4 stories in one. It was actually Roald Dahl, Henry Sugar, who told the story about the book, who told it in the book, and the guy with the head, like the can't see. And it was just really cool framing.
Who plays who plays Roald Dahl?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought that was not me, Benedict Cumberbatch, but he plays the main.
No.
Henry
He plays
Sugar.
Henry Sugar.
Okay.
But I would watch these if you can.
I'll try. Those sound really interesting.
I'll watch, if you want to watch one of them, watch The Swan. I think just because that one was my favorite. That one was the coolest in my opinion.
Okay.
Henry Sugar was actually cool, but like The Swan is my favorite story out of like that collection. So
yeah, no, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to ask is, so these like stories, they all kind of like fit into a larger narrative within each other, I guess.
No.
Or no?
They're all completely disconnected.
Okay, because like I know, because I thought the Roald Dahl narration thing meant that that they are okay.
No.
Okay.
No. It was just like a little thing they did. It was interesting. I don't really know what any of it means. That's like a Wes Anderson little funky little twist on it. Yeah. Like there's some things that, like the invisible like props in the rat catcher, in the poison, the narrator character slowly over the course of the movie like gets a scar going down his head. Like you can see it forming and then it's like bleeding a little bit, has stitches and stuff. It's like, I don't know what the point of doing that is, but it's like really interesting. And I thought it was the actor for a little bit, but it's not like that's not what he looks like. That just like happened over the course of that one.
Yeah, no, Wes Anderson does a lot of interesting, intricate things because, like, he has like in his movie called French Dispatch, he has like synchronized blinking in the movie.
That's weird.
And so, no, everything's very kind of anal and minute about every detail, which I guess that's what you should do as a filmmaker. But
yeah,
no, I could definitely see him bringing life to these kind of like short stories, you know.
Yeah, I mean the stories were messed up in their own right, and they're well written. I don't know. Well, Roald Dahl is a brilliant author.
Yeah.
But like having these projected into film.
Yeah.
I mean, like the tamer ones have been shown. Like I don't know if you've seen like The Witches or any of the Willy Wonka movies, or
I've seen the Willy Wonka movies.
Like BFG, Matilda. I mean, Matilda's still a little messed up, but those movies are all pretty tame. Same with like James and the Giant Peach. That one's like, compared to the book, that one's really tame, the movie.
BFG, but, like, big fat gamer.
So true. But like to see these like messed up little short stories translated to screen in their like original form
is yeah. No, I definitely see that. It's like you're getting these like little stories that you saw from childhood getting in the big screen. It's like, it's like you don't really think these are the type of stories that get adaptations, but
no, because these ones are not popular at all.
Yeah, but
like compared to his other books, of course.
Yeah, no, because like
Willy Wonka is getting its 3rd adaptation,
and that's a prequel, and yeah.
And there's a sequel to Willy Wonka. There's a Great Glass Elevator sequel that hasn't been adapted yet. Yeah, there's 2.
What's Willy Wonka about? Books.
They go to space. The only thing I remember is that the grandparents get some like anti-aging cream, and they become so young they get unborn. Like they could become like -20.
Okay, let me look it up. What is?
It's called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Let me go get. I have a couple Roald Dahl books. Let me see which ones I still have. I got rid of a couple.
So guys, in the meantime, let me tell you about the Great Glass Elevator. When the giant elevator picks up speed, Charlie, Willy Wonka, and the gang, whoever the gang are sent hurtling through space and time, visiting the world's first Space Hotel. Battling the dread Vermicious Nids and saving the world are only a few stops along this remarkable intergalactic joyride.
So it turns out the only two Roald Dahl books I have now are James and the Giant Peach and Willy Wonka. Both good books. The other ones I've read the Witches. I owned that one at some point. I had the other Willy Wonka book. The Twits I've also owned. That one was also a fun one. I think that I saw somewhere that one was getting adapted.
Really?
Which is an interesting one. It's just like one about asshole people who have like pet monkeys and they're just dicks to the monkeys, and then the monkeys totally pwn them. I don't know. I'm excited to see that one if that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of bringing the possibility of what child like stories I think could get like adapted, would be good adaptations into stories.
Yeah.
There was this book series I read. It was called like The Sisters Grimm, and it was fairy tales, and that was it wasn't really like a kind of these short stories, more like a 9-book kind of thing. I always thought would be a good adapted, because it was like once upon a time where it did like a twist on.
Was it wasn't tale. Like the it wasn't like Tale Dark and Grim, In a Glass Grimly, and whatever
it was something else about like a fairy tale land or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But it had like 9 books. I always remember I really liked those 9 books, because like I read one of those books in like a day, and they were like 200 pages or something.
Yeah. Back when we actually liked to read.
Yeah, no, back before the school broke us, but. Yeah. Well, I guess, do we have anything left to say?
I do have 3 more movies to talk.
Well, let's talk. I thought there was the thing and then the clump, and that was.
No, there's one more clump. I'm sorry. I can leave it till next.
No, I'm enjoying this. Tell me more.
Okay. So the last thing I watched. So on Disney Plus, they released the new Haunted Mansion movie. Are you familiar with the Haunted Mansion?
I'm familiar with how much it sucked. I heard it sucked.
No, but like the ride, are you familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was the new movie, so I was like, I'm going to watch that. But first, I'm going to watch the 2 other Haunted Mansion adaptations.
There's 3?
Then watch the third one.
There's other adaptations?
There are 3. And yeah, so you know how they milked the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is their other ride.
What is this movie thing doing on movie from rides? Like, what, Space Mountain? Does that have one or something? That should have one.
No, okay. I am making a plan to watch like the movies based on rides. I'll talk about them eventually.
That sounds like a good tier list video.
I'll make a tier list about it once I watch all of them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go. So I'll explain the ride first, and then explain the movies, just so.
Okay, let me immerse. I'm gonna immerse myself. You explain the ride.
All right. So imagine it's like a New Orleans old ass mansion building. I'm just gonna talk about the California one because that's the one I'm familiar with, and this is the one that most of the movies are based on. So there's this mansion. And you go inside, there's a big ass room, and there's no doors, there's no windows, and it begins stretching. There's these paintings on the walls, they all look brilliant. There's a lady with an umbrella, there's a guy just like sitting there with a cigar, and then the walls start stretching. You don't know if it's stretching, you're moving up or moving down, it's just stretching, and the paintings are extending. And the guy with the cigarette sitting on like a bunch of lit TNT. The lady with the umbrella, she's standing on like a wire. And there's alligators below her. And there's the ghost host. The ghost host says, "You're in a room with no doors, no windows. There's no way out. But of course, there's always my way out." They cut the lights. You hear glass shattering, woman screaming, thunder, lightning. You look up. Man hung himself. He has killed himself. That's the only way out of this haunted mansion. So then you get back in line for the ride. and there's a hallway. It has some paintings. There's lightning. When lightning strikes, they become scary. There's like a lady sitting on a couch, but when lightning strikes, it's a ferocious tiger lady, and she's really hot. And you're like, whoa! And then these two busts, they move while they move while you walk around, and it's crazy. And then you get in your doom buggy, and you go on the doom buggy, and then you go and you go and you go, and you see the endless hallway and a floating candelabra, and there's doors with knockers. They keep knocking by themselves. There's a clock that struck 13. There's a breathing door. There's a greenhouse with a coffin in it. And then you move, you keep going. There's a knight armor, and it tries to chop you, but it doesn't get you, but it tries and it doesn't get you. And then you go into the ballroom scene, the big old decorative ballroom, right? There's some paintings of ghosts. They're shooting at each other. There's a bunch of people dancing on the dance floor, a piano player, a bunch of people eating, having a good time, some swinging off the chandeliers, the most intricate of all the sets. Then you go up into the attic. You see paintings of a wife and her husbands. Each time you pass by by the paintings, their head, it disappears. But the lady's still there, and you see axes and things. Her name is Constance Hatchaway. You see her in the corner, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking cut your head off like all my other husbands. And I also forgot about a scene, so let's go step back. Before the ballroom scene, before you leave like the endless hallway area, the first area, there's a scene with a gypsy, and she's in a crystal ball. Her name is Madame Leota, and she's like, ghost, if you want to be seen, do a shake on my tambourine. And there's a floating tambourine. He comes in and shakes. And so says that, and then let's go back to Constance Hatchaway. So she's been killing her 5 previous husbands, and she's about to kill you, and you fall out the window backwards. You see the hat box ghost right before you fall out the window into the graveyard, and you see a gravedigger and his dog, and you go into the graveyard, and there's a bunch of ghosts. They're partying, they're having a great time, singing a great song, they're all partying. There's like a bunch of busts. They're all singing the song together and they're like partying. And then you see some ghosts and they're hitchhiking. They're holding out their fingers. And then you go and you see them. They're in your cart with you. Oh my God, look in the mirror. They're right there with you in the cart. And then you get off your cart and you leave. And Madame Leota, there's a little Leota, and she said, hurry back. Hurry back.
I will.
Oh, yeah. So that's the ride, basically. None of the movies had all of these things.
Wow, I was so immersed in that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first one, the 2003 Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh, Eddie
Murphy. So he's like a real estate salesman, right? And his family gets called to the mansion, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to sell your house for you." And then the butler's like, "Oh, that's crazy, bro. Here's Master Gracie." And Gracie's like the name, like the family. He's like part of the family that owns the mansion, like the original, original Disneyland mansion. Also, none of the mansions look like the actual mansion up until the newest movie.
Okay.
They're all kind of just like mishmashes of different versions of the mansion. And this one does take place in Louisiana, which is good. They barely pay any mention to it except for like a license plate that says Louisiana.
Louisiana is that big part of the ride?
The mansion is in Louisiana.
Okay.
Like that's where it takes place lore-wise.
Right. Righto.
So they're in the mansion. They're like, uh-oh, it's flooded around the mansion, so you can't go home. And now they're in the mansion. And the wife gets taken by the guy because like she's the embodiment of like this one girl of like Gracie's, like the great Gracie's whatever girlfriend, and she killed herself and then he hung himself. This is the only movie that has the ghost host hang themselves in.
You gotta get that ghost hanging. Gotta get that ghost hanging. That's
like the main part of the ride, is that he hangs himself. That's the only way out. They do say they all do say there's my way out. They do say that like 3 times in the movie, so that's pretty fun.
My way out.
Yeah, and then he hangs himself. But they say that 3 times in the movie. The movie was kind of funny.
Okay.
The acting wasn't like the best. Constance Hatchaway just isn't in the movie at all. despite her being like an important part of the ride.
In any of the movies?
Scene, she is, yeah.
Okay.
The ballroom scene doesn't really exist in this one. It kind of just gets shoved outside. The dueling people kind of get shoved into the endless hallway for some reason. Madame Leota is pretty important in all three of these movies, but she's a ball, so she can't really do anything.
She's a ball.
She's a ball. It was fine. The 2003 movie.
Nothing to write home about.
No, nothing to write home about. It was okay.
There's no way home in that.
Yeah, no. The next movie is I don't remember when it came out, the exclusive to Disney Plus, Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Ooh, classic, best one?
No, I don't know. Maybe. This one, it's pretty good.
Really?
It follows a lot of this one. Okay, so the Eddie Murphy one doesn't have the stretching room, despite that being like the most important part of the ride.
Right.
That one doesn't have the stretching room in the Eddie Murphy.
Does it have the hanging ghost, the Muppet one?
No, it doesn't. He doesn't kill himself in that one. Very sad.
That makes sense. It is a Muppet movie.
But it does have like everything else. It has the stretching room. They go into the hallway with the paintings. They have the endless door room. They have the floating candelabra, which wasn't in the Eddie Murphy one. The floating candelabra. It has the breathing doors, the doors that knock by themselves. They have a whole ballroom scene. There's a scene that takes place in the ballroom that's enjoyable. They have Walter and Staldorf, or whatever the old ass Muppets are called. They have them like riding around in a dune buggy, so like in like the actual ride seats for the movie, which is fun. Yeah. They have the hat box ghost in the Muppets one, which was missing from the 2003 one.
Okay. And so when you watch these movies, like, do you start off with Eddie Murphy and then do the Muppet one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they have Pepe Le Pew, so it's about Gonzo and Pepe Le Pew. Pepe gets like falls in love with Constance Hatchaway. She's actually in this movie.
Wow. Wait, what is Kermit?
They're all at like a Halloween party. They're pretty non-essential. It's about Gonzo's little
just Gonzo
haunted mansion. Yeah, because he's doing like a challenge in the mansion where it's like survive the night and you like win whatever.
That's kind of a fun adaptation.
Like your challenge. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they used the thing, like the Eddie Murphy one didn't really have like a you can't, but like this one was like a you have to like face your fears before you can leave, which is interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a whole arc about Gonzo facing his fears, which is way more interesting than the ghost is trying to hook up with my wife.
Oh, mama, I get it. She's a sexy ass ghost.
That's what happened in the Eddie Murphy one, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah, no, that sounds par for the course for a bunch of Eddie Murphy movies.
But the Muppets one, very enjoyable. One thing they have, which was interesting, they jump out the window in that one from the Constance Hatchaway scene, just like you do in the ride. That's unique. Thought was pretty cool.
No, that does sound pretty cool. I mean,
yeah. Constance is the kind of antagonist in that one. Like she's not like the most important, but that's what Pepe's doing for like most of it. Pepe is like gonna get married to her, and she's gonna kill him.
Unique. But that's pretty cool.
It was good to see Constance in the movie, and they had like Madame Leota, and they had all the important stuff in that movie, except for the guy hanging himself. Someone pretty good.
Okay, and have you seen the last one?
I did see the last one, yeah.
And I heard it was.
It was good. It was good.
It was good. I heard it was really bad.
It was good.
I heard.
No, it was good. I think it was the funniest out of the three, despite one of them being a Muppet movie. I did, because I really laughed at that one.
Really, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Give us your justification why it was good.
Okay, so I mean, not all of it was good. Okay. It takes like a while before they actually get into the mansion.
Okay.
Like they actually get. So there's this guy. His name is Ben. His wife is dead. He's sad because his wife is dead. And this priest comes in. It's Owen Wilson. I saw two things with Owen Wilson this week. the Owen Wilson's like, "Hey, bro, I'm a priest. This girl called me. She's like, hey, there's a mansion and it's spooky, and she just moved in, and it's spooky, and I'm a priest, but I don't think an exorcism could help. And your wife believed in ghosts, and you have a ghost camera. I heard." And he's like, "Don't talk about the ghost camera. I made that with my wife. Dead. Ugh." And it's like, but
Ghost cam.
wow. And then he can't find the batteries to the ghost camera, but he goes to the lady's house anyways. And she's like, "Hey, if you step in, your life is going to change forever." He's like, "Okay." And he goes in. He doesn't see any ghosts or anything. He's like taking fake photos or whatever. He's like, "Okay, so no ghosts. Your guys are just freaking out." And she's like, "Okay, okay." And so he goes home, and then he's haunted by a ghost that's like, come back to the mansion." So then he has to eventually go back to the mansion because he's like getting haunted by this ghost. The mansion in this movie does look like the California mansion.
Oh, it does? Okay, that's cool.
It does. It does actually look like the ride, which is cool. And this movie actually has the pet cemetery from the queue.
Fun.
So that was one thing that they added that the other two didn't, was like the actual like queue stuff. So they're all in the mansion. Owen Wilson, he went to the mansion earlier, so he's stuck in there, and he's a priest. Owen Wilson as a priest is pretty funny.
Really?
He's like, "Guys, can we get an amen?"
Did he say wow?
He's like, "God, we don't need this. Why'd you do this, God?"
Does he say wow? Does he say wow?
He doesn't say wow. He doesn't say wow. But they get two other people.
Who does Jared Leto play in the movie?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Jared Leto is in the movie. But they get two other people because they're like, okay, we got to get rid of the ghost, right? So they get Danny DeVito, old teacher guy, and they steal like his plans his like research for the hotel from the mansion.
And Danny's like, amen.
Yeah. And Danny DeVito, he's like, "Hey, can I come to the mansion?" They're like, "Sure, that'd be great. He's like, "Yeah, I'm getting my heart surgery done next week, so I'm gonna do this beforehand." They're like, "No, don't come with us. Don't do that. Don't come into the hotel with us if you have heart surgery."
Obviously.
He does eventually sneak in there. They also get like a psychic lady. Her name's Harriet, and she can talk to ghosts or whatever. So she comes to the hotel or the mansion. They're all in the mansion together or whatever. And they're like, okay, so there's this guy named William Gracie. So they use the name Gracie again for the movie. Except he actually owned the mansion this time.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, this guy Gracie, his like, what happened? Oh yeah, his wife died, and he like had Madame Leota try to like summon her spirit, but every time he did it, it brought in more and more ghosts, and now there's 999 ghosts.
Wow, ghosts.
And if there's this one ghost that they accidentally summoned, it's the Hatbox Ghost. That's Jared Leto. He plays the Hatbox Ghost.
And is he scary?
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
But he's the main villain in this movie, which is interesting.
Why is the Hatbox not usually the main villain? Or
so the Hatbox is kind of like in the ride. He's like right before you go out the window. He's kind of standing there with his Hatbox. His head goes from his head into the Hatbox. That's like his whole gimmick, and that's all he does in the ride.
Does the Hatbox have the word damage on his forehead?
It doesn't have the no. It does not have the word damage on it. He did morb a little bit in the movie.
He morbed in the movie? That's cool.
He did morb in the movie. But they kind of juggle a lot of plot lines in the movie and a lot of. So there's one scene with Harriet that's nice. They're like, yeah, my dad really liked like model trains, but then when he passed away, whenever I'm having the lowest days, sometimes I'll hear a faint train noise in the distance, right? And that's like a little ghost wink that my dad's giving me. So there's like a little
ghost
emotional moment there. Yeah. Some other emotional things. Travis, the like son of the mom, he's like, yeah, I'm getting bullied and no one likes me. That's crazy, and it's because I haven't seen my dad in a long time, and that's why. He's like, wow, that's crazy. It's like, I mean, I talked to him, but like, I don't want my mom to be really sad.
Wait, he's bullied because he doesn't have a dad?
No, he's bullied because he has no friends, but this started after he stopped seeing his dad.
No, okay. That's pretty weird bullying.
Yeah.
You don't have a father.
Like Travis tells like Ben or whatever, the main character, and he's like, "Yeah, don't tell my mom I've been talking to him because she would hate that. She wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
She'd be sad or whatever." What else happens in the movie? There's a scene where, well, like, so Jared Leto, Hatbox Ghost, needs one more soul to like be all powerful or whatever, right?
Obviously.
And because the main character Ben has so much grief with like his wife or whatever, he's like the main suspect. And so there's a scene where he's like, yeah, he like, it's like he breaks down. He's like, my wife, I loved her so much. She died in a car accident. It's so sad. She went to Baskin Robbins. She loved Baskin Robbins. Oh, yo, Baskin Robbins plug right here.
Wow.
Oh, she loved Baskin Robbins.
She loved
She ate
it.
lots of tater tots. She loved tater tots. And it was just like they're just trying to have an emotional moment. And
it's like in Sonic when they kept doing Olive Garden, the first one. It's like,
okay, no, but that one's funny because they didn't do it during like the emotional moment.
She loved Baskin Robbins. She loved she loved 31 flavors. She loved the two.
Like there's a scene when they try to summon Madame Leota or whatever, and they're like, listen, if you can hear me, write on this pen and pad that I got from CVS. As they're like summoning a ghost, it's like, well, this is dumb. There's a lot of product placement that's really annoying in the movie, like at the worst times.
You can get Pizza Hut's 2-for-1 deal.
And then that, like, the emotional scene with him crying about his wife ends with Danny DeVito. So like, oh, she must have been really fat, right? Because she liked ice cream and tater tots and shit. She must have had, what was the cholesterol on that woman? And like, that's how they end the emotional scene. And then they realize they have to go get like a possession of the Hatbox Ghost when he was alive, so that they can like summon him or kill him or whatever the fuck happened in that movie. So they go to the Orlando one. Actually, they go to the Orlando mansion, and stuff happens there, which is pretty cool.
Cool. And yeah.
And then they get trapped in the stretching room. They do a stretching room scene. That's pretty cool.
No, that sounds awesome.
It was pretty cool. And then come back and they're like, hey, we got the hat that we needed. And then they're like, okay, kids, stay in the car because this might be dangerous. And so he stays in the car and he starts talking to his dad, who actually is dead. That was the twist with him. He was talking to his ghost dad.
Oh, like in The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. And so they go inside and they're like, hey, we're back with the hat. And also
he's dead.
Owen Wilson pretended to be a priest the whole time. He's not actually a priest.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know why they needed to do that, but they did do that.
Can I get, does that even mean anything? Is there any consequences?
No.
Okay.
But Danny DeVito actually had a heart attack, so he actually gets possessed by the Hatbox Ghost, and so Owen Wilson and him have a little tussle, and things happen and such, and there's a little emotional thing with Ben and the kid, where the kid is like, "But I want to talk to my dad." It's like, that's not your dad. That's not Ghost. He's trying to trick you.
He's a ghost, boy.
And then he doesn't trick him. And then they send the Hatbox Ghost to hell.
Yeah, that's where Jared Leto belongs.
Yeah, in hell. Which also happens in the first movie with like the butler or whatever, the main villain. He also goes to hell. But that one was okay. That one didn't have anyone hanging themselves. This one didn't use Constance Hatchaway really at all. There's like one scene where they have her.
Yeah. But she's like a pretty big part of the ride, right?
Yeah, so she's
maybe they should get like one where she's like the main character.
She's not like the main character. She's just like a main just part of the ride. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So this was more of like a quintessential adaptation of Haunted Mansion.
I would say the 2003 one is the best if you haven't seen the ride before.
Okay.
That's the best like standalone movie, but even then it was like kind of mid tier. The Muppets one is more if like you're a fan of the ride and you're a fan of the Muppets, and you just want a little silly thing. That one's what that's for. If you want like the actual like if you've seen the Jungle Cruise adaptation, it's kind of closer on the level of the Jungle Cruise adaptation, the new one.
With The Rock, right? No.
Yeah. It's pretty on the level with that one. Yeah. Where it still does its own thing but stays true. Okay, Jungle Cruise doesn't have a plot. It's just you going through a fucking river and the skipper is like, "Guys, it's the backside of water. O2H, O2H." Like that's that ride. Like Haunted Mansion actually has some cool lore behind it. Like being connected with,
have you been on these rides a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't quite remember these rides. Wait, so wait, I thought the Pirates of the Caribbean was movie what the ride was based on. I didn't know the ride was made first.
The ride was one of the original rides at Disneyland, or one of the last ones that Walt oversaw, or something.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, and then the movies came from that ride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, which has since changed since the movies came out to like.
I mean,
adapt more.
There's so many.
Yeah, but like to adapt with the movies more, which is cool. And I think Jungle Cruise has done that. I haven't been on Jungle Cruise since that movie came out, and I'm gonna assume Haunted Mansion's gonna have something a little similar.
Yeah. You wanna guess the Rotten Tomato score on Haunted Mansion?
Isn't it like 40 something?
It's 37.
It's not 37. There's no way.
Okay,
like the movie's entertaining.
Audience score is way better.
What is audience score?
84.
Okay, I'd say maybe 84, 84 or 79 ish. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but
I don't know. I think as a Haunted Mansion adaptation, the newest one is the best. But I think the Muppets one is just better overall.
Yeah, but not as faithful, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's still pretty. It's still pretty faithful.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the 3 movies.
Yep. Now I'm done.
Now you are done, and I guess we are done as we're bordering these episodes, guys. These episodes are getting longer and longer, but we just have more things to say nowadays.
Incredible.
But yeah. So
hopefully this episode wasn't too boring with just 2 people.
Yeah, or maybe it was a nice breather. We'll get next episode is just gonna be Becula. Nicola and
it's just Becula. That's their ship name. It's them 2. It's not gonna be that. We're not having.
It's gonna be Becula. It's just gonna be Beck and Nicola. They're gonna just Nicola's just gonna play games and Beck's just gonna say Nicola.
It's true. It's true.
And that's that. I'm sorry you're missing the spice of Nicola's racism and the Beck list. Well, though Aiden made up for it. He made up for it. So, yeah. Aiden, you wreck something.
I'll wreck. How about we both wreck something?
Let's both do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend the Wes Anderson Roald Dahl adaptations. Just all of them. All 4 of them.
I am going to wreck the movie Training Day. It's a good movie. We'll go watch it. It's with Denzel Washington. A crooked cop tries to turn a younger cop crooked. Drama.
Interesting.
So always use Celsius homeboys or homegirls
or home they thems.
Yeah.
Or any other
homes. No way homes? Yeah. That's perfectly fine.
That's true. Nicola, do you wanna
Beck, you wanna say something?
Brilliant. Thanks, Nicola.
Always use Celsius, and thanks for listening. Sin City was amazing.